Okay, I think everybody's probably in the same frame of mind today, just excited about it being game week. I think everybody's pretty fired up about it. We got 25 practices down. I'm excited about getting out on the practice field this afternoon for, what's the final touches of what's been a pretty extensive preparation for an opponent. So, I think there's going to continue to get a little bit of a buzz around here in the next 4 days. Our players, I know, are ready for this Saturday. Coaching-wise, we're ready for this Saturday. I think y'all are probably just as excited about we are to get something else to talk about other than just what the preparation is. I mean, there's only so much we can write about and talk about, without really getting a full game under our belt. So I've went over a lot about Georgia Southern. I've let you know what our depth charts are and who's going to get out there and play. And I think at this point it's all about getting out there and and playing a game. We know we got a quality opponent coming to town. They're as good as advertised. We got our players' attention when we put the film on last week and showed them a bunch of stuff last Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So we'll do the same thing this week to just refresh their memories. We'll probably reduce the amount of practice time that we would normally have for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to get them in a pretty good place going into Saturday's game. So everybody's looking forward to it. So I think that's where we're at. So if anybody's got some specifics, take some questions.
What about the health of the team right now in Muldrow? It's just overall.
We're the same as we were. Did we put Ed on the injury, the media deal?
We're going to look at him.
But y'all can talk to him. I don't know what's wrong with him. So, if that's the only thing we got to talk about, then I think we're in a pretty good place. We're 100% healthy. He's the only one that hadn't practiced.
Dana, you mentioned the preparation is probably more extensive for Georgia Southern than it would be for, a usual opponent. Is there a point in this week where you kind of stop cramming the specifics about how to defend them and just give the guys more live reps and just let them kind of, focus on playing?
I don't know how to do that. We got to show them tape, come up with the plan, which we have. We got to teach the scout teams what to do. And then we got to get out there, which we did last Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and run plays and defend it. So we're tired of doing it in a controlled setting, and the only way we can do it in a non-controlled setting is going to be Saturday night. So I'm anxious to see them play. I'm anxious to watch our guys. We know what our plan is on all three sides of the ball. I can't wait just to turn them loose and watch them play, to see how they're going to react. I don't know how else to do it. We can't go live against each other anymore. It's counterproductive because the plans are different, the schemes are different. They pose some challenges with their schemes. They're well coached. They've won a bunch of games. They have good football players, and now we just got to get out there and we got to play.
And you're going to start a true freshman at a wide receiver role. I assume, given your druthers, you'd rather not do that. History kind of says if you look at almost any wide receiver, they go much better sophomore year or second year, even Kevin White. Can you explain a little bit about the development of them and what you would expect out of a freshman coming into that role?
I thought about this the other day. I don't know if we've ever started a true freshman at wideout. We've started plenty of true freshmen around here. I don't know how many of them have been at wideout. I guess DeKeel maybe has started as a true freshman. Wendell started as a true freshman. There hadn't been very many of them. We don't have any returning starters at that position. So somebody's got to get out there and do it. I named him and Shelton starters, but I'll be curious to see what the total snaps are at the end of the game. You know, there could be 2 other people at that position that end up playing more snaps than him. You know, you got to look and see how they're going to react to these situations. You know, the other guys, I'm anxious to see how they react to it as well. So, you know, a bunch of people are making a big deal about him being the starter, and I'm proud of him. And he's made some pretty good plays, and he's got bundles of potential. Until it happens in a game, I'm going to reserve the right to sit here and brag about him.
Are you thinking that Karan White is probably going to be one of those other guys?
He'll
that
play.
are gonna be in there?
There'll be 6 wideouts that play. There'll be 6 that play. You can only play 2 at a time.
Dana, you play 6 wide receivers. You didn't rotate a lot at many positions last year. Do you think you'll use more depth this year? I mean, going in, is it, okay, we're gonna get people in on the 3rd series, 2nd series? Do you have a plan for that?
No, I really don't, other than just kind of look at them on the sidelines and see how they're reacting to the situation. We've always played 4. There's always been a backup going to the game. When guys establish themselves as a bona fide starter, which we haven't established that yet, you know, somebody's got to march out there, and I've told you who the 2 are going to be. Until they establish themselves as a bona fide starter like Kevin and Mario did last year, then you got to figure out what the percentage they can handle. You know, Kevin and Mario were about 85% snaps. Stedman was like 95 to 98%. He could play all the time. You know, whatever that percentage is when the other guys are going to play. So we've always played a bunch. We'll look at them and you know, just kind of see how they're doing, what their temperament is, what kind of success they're having, how much confidence they have, and either put them back out there or put somebody else out there.
You mentioned Kevin White. Where do you think that Karan is sort of on that same sort of track potentially to be that kind of that
Yeah.
big guy?
Kevin didn't start his first 3 games here. So, you know, and Kevin was a junior. So, again, I kind of hesitate talking about guys till they really made a play. But, you know, he's in the same boat that Kevin was when Kevin was first year.
How do you think he compares to Kevin, not in terms of how he's going to produce, obviously, right now, but
He's third team right now.
but I mean,
Let's give him a
in terms
chance
of his,
to play and develop and see how that comes. I don't want to compare him to Kevin. It's not fair to compare him to Kevin. He's a backup receiver right now that has done a good job, has been discussed as being a starter after 1 game, 6 games, a year, 2 years. We'll see what kind of player he develops into. I think it's going to be pretty good.
What did Kyle Bosch show you guys in the last couple of weeks of camp?
Tough, you know, physical. You know, you need your lineman to be tough and physical. He's shown toughness. He's shown the ability to be physical. He took advantage of Tony not repping for about a week with a shoulder injury. So Tony's back fine, 100%. Practiced last week, but we know we're going to need more guards. So by him emerging as a guy that we know can rotate, you know, this goes back to the same discussion as far as, you know, getting excited about starters when, and you know, don't be surprised if Mattio's the guard on the 2nd series. So that's gonna continue to this does support my point that we need to play a game to have something else to talk about. What happens if I wouldn't have put that out there a couple days ago that these 3 guys were actually the starters now? You guys wouldn't have had anything to write about. We need to get out there and play.
And with your focus on getting a starter ready and Crest bouncing between multiple positions, what's your comfort level with them in terms of communication in the offense in its entirety?
Are you talking about William or Skylar? William's done good. He's picked it up. You know, continues to get better. Has focused at quarterback only for the last probably 2-3 weeks. It may change today. I don't know. You always got to keep something in your back pocket. So, but the communication's been a lot better. The execution's been better. with not only him, but Skyler and Chugs as well.
Do you feel comfortable with some of those backup linemen if you're able to rotate them?
Yeah, dude, probably more so than at any point since I've been here. You know, Stone Underwood's had a great camp. Just nobody wants to talk about because Tyler's Orlowski's he's so solid. But you know, if he had to go in as a backup center, it wouldn't change what we do a bit. He could also play guard. You know, Matteo can play both guards. Pankey can bump out to tackle. Marcel Lazard's done better. Grant Lingefelter has been playing guard and tackle. So we have depth, whether they can play at a level that, you know, those backups and even a couple of these new guys, like Bosch has never taken a snap here and Yadney's never taken a snap here. So let's don't get ahead of ourselves and say that we're the best offensive line unit in the world. But with about 8 or 9 guys, I feel much more comfortable rotating people now than we have in the past.
How would you dictate that? Just
What's
meaning,
that?
How would you dictate that?
You got to just do it. You know, you got to just do it. And you got to resist the temptation of, you know, the continuity is pretty good. We don't want to kind of mess with that. We're going to rotate people in and try to keep, you know, people as fresh as we possibly can. If we can do it all year, it'd be great, you know. But you got to develop continuity, and there's going to be some very challenging, you know, defensive lines and defenses and games where you want your best guys out there all the time.
And what are you most curious about? Which unit to see how they hold up?
I mean, all three. We've worked real hard on special teams. I'm anxious to see that live. It's really tough to simulate that live in practice. You know, how offense and defense does against somebody else, obviously I'm more excited than anybody in this room to see what it's going to look like. So you can't name one. It's the whole thing. I'm about to stand here in front of the whole team here in about 2 hours and tell them the same thing. We've talked. There's nothing I can say about Georgia Southern that's going to open their eyes any more than they're already open. So we've talked enough. It's I can't tell you how excited I am to watch our guys play.
Speaking of that, without stealing your own thunder, what generally will you tell them, you know, before you send them out there on game day?
Let's go have fun. Go play ball. We're at the point now where you guys are prepared. You know, I feel like we're pretty well coached too. You know, our opponent's pretty well coached and they got good players. Well, we're well coached and we got good players too. So I'm excited to watch them just get out there and play.
Danny, your turnovers, how's that gone in practice? Maybe corralling them and also your defense not, or maybe your defense for
It's a hard thing to gauge because is it because defense is doing a good job of getting a turnover or offense is doing a bad job of turning it over? It's hard to gauge that. So we got to keep emphasizing it. We don't really have like winners and losers when it comes to that because it may be a guy that's not going to play on Saturday that gave the ball up. You know, I don't know how you really count it. So we work hard at it. We work hard on it. We talk about it. We emphasize it. Until you get into a game and you really judge the turnover margin thing, I don't know how you really assess that. So it's probably the first thing that I will look at the end of the game.
They look really good at Georgia Southern not turning it over.
Very good.
When you see that number, you realize they move the ball a lot with pitches and handoffs. So,
It's very impressive.
yeah, is there an explanation for maybe are they just good at it? Do they not take chances?
They handle the ball a lot of different ways. So it's very impressive to have, you know, they got 8 fumbles in 12 games, 12 turnovers in 12 games. So, you know, I think that's pretty impressive. You know, and it's like I've told our team, our defense, and I've said that since day one. You know, don't wait on the offense to give you the ball. You go affect the ball. So I'm excited about seeing our guys really trying to affect the ball.
Dana, a lot has been made of their offense, but what do you see from the defense?
Our defense, their defense. Yeah, they're good. They got a lot coming back. You know, I mean, they've had the same coordinator for 5 years now. You know, Jack Curtis has been with them for 5 years. Coach Fritz retained him. So they've been doing the same thing for the last 5 years. They got good continuity. They understand what to do. They don't have busts. You know, they got 6 or 7, 8 returning starters that have played a lot. They're good. They're a good outfit. They're good. A very, very good outfit.
And if someone had said to you 3 years ago that the first 15, 16 minutes of your game week pregame press conference, the quarterback wouldn't be mentioned, what would you have said?
I'd be pretty fired up about it. I'd be excited about it. Huh?
What do you read into that?
I guess nobody has any worries. You tell by your reaction there that you got some concerns.
Not necessarily.
Well,
but,
we all do. I mean,
he's not really the most experienced quarterback.
no. Well,
out there.
he's played in 15 games in the last 2 years, so you know that's a good bit of experience, you know, and he's had a lot of practice time, and Skylar feels comfortable. You know, the communication with me and him is flawless. You know, he knows how to execute this offense. He's got a chip on his shoulder and he's ready to play. He's ready to get turned loose. So I feel good about where he's at. I really do. You know, the biggest thing with him is I just got to get him to just you know, let his teammates play hard and play good too. You know, just run the offense. You don't have to go out there and make huge play after huge play. Just go out there and run it the way we ask you to do it, and good things will probably happen. I've been happy with where he's at and the mentality that he brings to the table and his leadership skills as well.
Georgia Southern was just getting that thing really rolling when you were at Valdosta, 2 decades ago. Did you ever be in D2 and 1AA, did y'all recruit against each other?
That not really. Didn't they? Georgia Southern and Valdosta played the year before I got there. Hal was there for a year before I got there. And they played the year before, so I'd heard a lot about them and knew a lot about them and, you know, understand their tradition very well. You know, the days of Irk Russell and all their national championships and 1AA. It goes without saying that they're a powerhouse across the coaching fraternity, I can tell you that.